Hello and welcome. Thank you for stopping by. If you want to know how to make a split easel card like this, keep on watching. I'm going to show you now. So let's get started. I'll just move this aside while we get our trimmer in. There are a lot of pieces that you'll need for this. I won't go through all of the measurements, but just some of them. But you'll be able to follow along on my blog after this, so you can get all the measurements, and they'll be available in inches and in centimetres. You'll start off with your standard size card base. That is 21 centimetres by 14.8 centimetres. Score that at 10.5 or 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. You'll also need some other pieces, some card mat, paper strips, and some white pieces for stamping, but we'll go through all those. The first thing we need to show you is the card base. So with your standard size card base, you want to cut this at 3 centimetres or 1 1/8. You'll just want to cut down to that score line. Don't go any further, so just down there. And then move it across. We'll move the trimmer so you can see, or hopefully, to 11.8 or 4 3/8. Once again, just cutting that down to the score line. Now, in our center piece, you want to score that one. You'll score that at 5.2 centimetres or it's 2 1/8. Only wanting to score this center section. So just put your scoring blade in there and just give it a good score back and forth to mark that line into it. We can get rid of the trimmer now. You're going to fold on these score lines. If you just get your bone folder, you can just give that a little press to burnish those folds down. It just makes it a little more crisper. And also score this score line here. So just give that a rub over. Now for our pieces, we've just got 2 card strips and DSP. So just stick these parts down for now. We can get those out of the way. It's just nice to have them matted together on some coordinating card. It just helps it stand out. You can add those strips now to the card. So you just have one on each section. Also got is a piece of card, the same color as your card base. Now I'll just give you the measurements for these. This is 8.8 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres or 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. You'll also need a card mat. I've got it the same color as our mat on our strips, and another piece of DSP. You could use white card and stamp on that, but I've just chosen the DSP because it just creates a nice background. So we can glue those together now while we're going. Now, of course, you can use whatever you like to decorate your card. I have chosen to use the Cheerful Daisies. They're really pretty and just work so well with the beautiful fresh as a daisy paper. So I'll just show you, we'll go through and stamp a few flowers for that. I'll do that quickly. I'm using Early Espresso and Lemon Lolly. I'm really loving this light yellow colour. It's just nice, subtle colour. So we want the outline stamp, and we're going to have a couple of the smaller daisies as well. So let's give that an ink up. I'll have 2 of those, so they can just be stamped on a piece of scrap card. While I've got the early espresso out, I'm going to stamp the sentiment as well. That's the happy birthday one, wishing you the brightest birthday. Now, of course, you could colour those in, but we've got the beautiful solid stamp that we can just stamp the lemon lolly inside it. So bring your solid stamps in. We've got the small one and the large one. Now, just to help you, before you start stamping, just have a look at how you can line that up before you ink it. Makes it so much easier. And there you go, straight off. That's just lucky, really. I usually spend a few seconds turning it around, trying to work out how to line it up. And do the same with the small ones. Just give it a bit of a look and see. This takes a little bit of working out. What I try and do is just pick out a feature of it and see if you can find that on the stamp. Of course, you could mark the stamp as well, and so you've got that already done for each time. So we can just stamp that now. What I did forget with the early espresso is to stamp the center. For the large one, I'm just going to stamp that on a small piece of white card. For the small ones, I'm just going to stamp the center of those. So we'll grab those dies. So once again, before you start cutting, just have a bit of a look and jiggle it around to see where it can sit. There you go. And the same with the smaller ones. We're going to cut that out. We have the sentiment. I really like this sentiment block die. You've got that stitched edging and just those little ornate corners. They're really nice. We've also got a die for the center of the daisy part. So we're going to run those through the die cut machine. Oh, and also you'll just want a little piece of the wild wheat that we're going to cut your leafy stems. And then I've got some smaller leaves. If you have a look on the card, I've got those smaller leaves. What I've done is just using this large die, I've just run just the leaf through so you can get a little bit of a detail leaf. So we're going to run those through the machine now. There we have all our little pieces. We're going to put them together now. So I'll just get this panel that we created before. I'm just adding some glue so to our leafy part, just with a couple of dots just around. You don't need too much. And what I do is then just get it and dab it on some scrap paper so it doesn't ooze out everywhere. Add that up to your card up here. It's good to position your flowers before you stick the rest of it down. You'll have the little daisies, the big daisies, and you're going to add these with dimensionals. So we'll just go ahead and add those. I meant to add this in a little bit earlier too. We can just stick that down on the front as well. So I'll just add little dots of glue. And add a dimensional on the back of your little flower center. Now for the inside, you just want a square of just a smaller piece of white card. We're going to use a different piece of the Fresh as a Daisy. That's just going to go down the bottom. Before you stick that down, you're going to stamp a little daisy. It's just to have something a little extra inside it. Gives it a little surprise. So ink up your daisy in early espresso, and I've just positioned the paper in there so I can roughly see whereabouts to stamp it. So just stamp that down there. Grab your lemon lolly. So we'll ink that up. Give that a good ink in the lemon lolly and stamp that down. Don't forget your centre. We could have done that when we had the early espresso out, but we'll just give that a little ink for the centre. A little bit off, but you know what you can do is just have a look and just stamp a little bit up there. It all works. Now we can stick that one down. See, I've got that little daisy just peeking through. It's kind of cute. Stick that down into the centre of your card. Just want to show you how to stick those sides down. So open your card, these flaps out, and we'll centre that in there. Now these strips side pieces can be stuck down. So just add some glue there, and what I do is just, if you can see that, I make sure that's lined up here first. Then stick that down. You might want to hold it in place for a second. Same with this side then. That down once again, just line that up. Look at our stamp piece that we made before. You're going to stick this on the front of your card, but you only want to put glue just on this bottom section here. And it's better if you fold the card up in position, and then you can line this one up along the bottom edge so it just sits nicely there. Give that a press down. Right, so let's finish it. So to make it an easel card, it's good to have an anchor point here, which is why we've done a sentiment piece. But what I've also added is a small daisy, so we'll just cut that out. And a tiny bit, if you have a look at the card, just added a little silver banner. This banner comes from the Countryside Corners dies. It's a tiny little one. So we can just run that through. There you go. We only need to cut half of that banner. And if you find you've got little dots, it doesn't matter with any die cut you cut. Sometimes you get these little dots from die cutting. Just get the end of a pen or a bone folder and just rub over that. And it just helps flatten it so it doesn't stand out so much. We'll add that to the back of our banner. So you have a little bit of peeking through there. Adds just an extra element. I like adding extra elements. Here we have a daisy. We're just going to put a couple of dots of glue on it like we did with the others. And dab that off on some paper. Put that straight down there. Add some dimensionals. And position that so you've got a bit of the daisy peeking through. Add an enamel dot to finish. Let's do that. So there you have your split easel card with the gorgeous Fresh as a Daisy. Isn't it beautiful paper and beautiful dies? If you are needing these in your stamping and you're in Australia or any of the other products, don't forget to stop by my store. I have the link on YouTube comments, or you can find me on Facebook. And if you like this video and you're watching on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe so you can catch more of other crafty projects. So have a good day and thank you for watching. Catch you next time. Bye.